Welcome to Element 9 of TPP for Essex Partners. Element 9 is about building resilience. We will explain what resilience is, look at some helpful habits for building resilience, and consider what to do when things go wrong. We have listed all the content that we deliver in Element 9 for the full advanced level TPP schools and settings training to give you an idea of the depth and breadth it covers. The concepts highlighted in purple are the concepts that we will cover with you in our overview of Element 9 today. The definition of resilience is widely understood as the ability to weather adversity or to bounce back from a negative experience. Resilience is how we cope with or recover from experiences or distress. It is fluid and changes over time. It can be fostered and grown and develops through gradual exposure to difficulties at a manageable level of intensity. We may ask, why is it that two people can have the same awful experience and one recover and get on with their lives and the other be unable to move on from it? The difference is the level of resilience that each one has developed over their lifetime. So much can contribute to the positives and negatives that support or hinder resilience. We learn resilience from when we're a baby. Caregivers provide containing and empathetic messages when a baby cries, for instance, to help them manage the delay in getting their milk, being fed, or being in their caregiver's arms. As babies grow into toddlers and children and young people, they will be exposed to longer periods of having to sit with their anxieties and feelings that don't feel so good. They learn that help is on its way through repeated reassuring messages that the caregivers provide, messages that they can trust. Once their needs are met, they feel good again, and this grows their resilience. If a caregiver looks anxious, for example, and doesn't contain it very well from the child or young person, it can give the child an experience that the experience in itself is bad and something that they will not be able to manage or recover from. In the spring of 2021, we asked children and young people of Essex what they thought resilience was, and they said the following: to say no to things you feel are not right, confidence, getting on well, having things in common, strength, pick yourself up and dust yourself off, swings and roundabouts, adaptable, able to move forward, and just keep swimming like Dory from Finding Nemo. A key element of building resilience is learning how to manage and respond to experiences that present us with stress and feeling distress. So stress and distress has been explored in previous elements, but we'll briefly revisit it now. Stress is defined as a state of mental tension and worry caused by problems in your life, work, etc. It can also be something that causes strong feelings of worry and anxiety. Distress is an aversive state in which a person is unable to completely adapt to stressors and their resulting stress and shows unhelpful behaviours. It can be observed as inappropriate social interactions such as aggression, passivity, and withdrawal. A key element of building resilience is learning how to manage and respond to experiences that present us with stress and feeling of distress. So what explains individual differences in how people manage adverse experiences? Everyone's life is unique in terms of their personal qualities, family and community setting. Factors have a layered effect. The higher amount of risk factors present in someone's life, the more protective factors are needed to support good mental health and develop resilience. People experience, recover from, cope with, manage and respond to adversity and stressful situations in different ways. Resilience plays a big part in this difference. Considering children and families who have access to your service, think about what the risk and protective factors might be for them and how significant these might be for their resilience. Individual risk factors may include personality type, confidence, self-esteem, levels of anxiety. Family factors may include a good or lack of wider family support network, family conflict, family values, etc. And community factors may include religious groups and access to community support services, for instance. We would now like you to pause the webinar and click the link to video 12 in element 9 of the video link handout that goes along with these webinars. This video helps to explain individual differences in levels of resiliency and how we manage and recover from distress and challenging situations. Children and young people need to build resilience skills to be able to both enjoy good times and deal with hard times. Helping children and young people learn how to manage life's ups and downs and build their coping skills supports their mental health and well-being, now and into the future. Feeling good protects mental health and well-being. Experiencing positive emotions such as joy, pleasure, and having fun are essential experiences for building and maintaining a healthy mind across our whole lives. Skills and qualities that help children cope with life's ups and downs include trust, that the world is safe and that there are caring people to help them, belief in their ability to do things for themselves and achieve their goals, feeling good about themselves and feeling valued for who they are by their parents and carers, optimism, that things generally turn out well, and regulation, the ability to recognise stress, manage their feelings, thoughts and behaviours. Research comparing adults who reported high numbers of positive childhood experiences shows 72% lower levels of adult depression and/or mental health and were 3.5 times more likely to get the social and emotional support they need as an adult. Other researchers found that when their parents were able to share ideas and talk about things that matter with their child, a child had a 1,200% greater chance of flourishing compared to those who did not have this type of communication. These findings demonstrate that positive childhood experiences have a layered effect on the lifelong mental health outcomes. Positive childhood experiences buffer against the negative lifelong health effects caused by exposure to ACEs, the adverse childhood experiences. Children and young people's resilience is enhanced when they are loved by someone unconditionally, have an older person outside the home they can talk to about problems and feelings, are recognised and praised for doing things on their own and striving to achieve, can count on their family being there when needed, know someone they want to be like, believe things will turn out fine, have a sense of power greater than themselves, are willing to try new things, feel that what they do makes a difference in how things turn out, like themselves, can focus on tasks and stay with it, have a sense of humour, and make goals and plans both short and long term. This slide illustrates internal sources of resilience. This framework comes from the work of Lynn Worsley, an Australian psychologist who invented the resilience donut. To overcome adversities, we all draw from three internal sources of resilience: the I have, an external support, an I am, an inner strength, and an I can, an interpersonal skills. What we draw from each of these sources can be described as the following: I have caring and responsive adults, friends, role models, space to play and learn, safety and support, boundaries, praise, responsibilities, and a sense of belonging. Then it helps me to feel that I am likeable and lovable, unique, caring and kind, hardworking, responsible, understood, listened to, encouraged, supported, and proud of myself. And this enables me to be able to communicate, play and learn, make friends, laugh, manage my feelings, solve problems, access co-regulation, take healthy risks, and seek help from a trusted adult. So resilience results from a combination of these three features working simultaneously at the same time. Steve Peters notes some helpful habits for building resilience. These are to smile, say sorry, be kind to others, talk about feelings, ask for help, show good manners, and learning to share. We often take for granted some of these habits, such as smiling, being kind, and showing good manners. But having reflected on the learning from previous elements about the importance of body language, tone, and vocabulary, we can see how doing these things on purpose and mindfully is so important. Have a think about how much of these we do on a daily basis. Which ones could we do more of? And how can you build these into your activities and interventions? Here we have plotted the helpful habits alongside the language of resilience so that you can see what this means in reality for children and young people. Think about the children you work with and consider how they could use the helpful habits to increase their resilience. Consider how you could support or teach them to do this too. A question that often comes up in TPP training is how do we apply consequences? Consequences can be a useful response to particular behaviours. Evidence suggests that punishments and sanctions alone have limited long-term effects, so it is important for the children and young people to see a logical link between their behaviour and the response, such as putting something right that's gone wrong. Consequences should have a clear link to the incident and help the child or young person to learn how to behave more appropriately should a similar situation occur, tailoring this to the needs of the individual. In TPP, we are not saying there are no consequences to actions, but what we are asking you to do is reflect on: does it promote connection? Is it kind and empathic? Does it reduce shame? And is it hopeful? And can the child and young person move forward? When done well, consequences can be used to support and develop resilience. So we need to consider what drives our reasoning behind consequences. Is it about connecting or getting the job done? Is it about sanctions and repair and restore? Remember the TPP values. What is the intent behind it? Does it support the values of compassion and kindness, hope, connection and belonging? Some common language for consequences include boundaries, limits, outcomes, sanctions, discipline, punishment, and some are more helpful than others. The key principles of consequences should be that adults are clear that it is a consequence. Consequences are delivered with empathy and understanding of the context. Consequences are logical and fair. They are appropriate to the child or young person's level of understanding, and they keep the children and young people safe. They can be proactive based on lessons learnt from previous incidences, and consequences protect the relationship. Remember the good, the bad and the ugly. It is helpful to view consequences as protective and/or educational. If consequences are not having an impact on the child or young person's behaviour, the adults need to revisit the principles and reflect on their approach. Restorative approaches are also used to build resilience. The purpose of restorative work is to reflect, repair and restore by revisiting the experience with the child or young person. This can only happen when they're calm, relaxed and receptive to being reflective about the incident. Allow the person to tell their story and encourage them to think about their feelings and others' feelings. The discussion should be varied to accommodate the needs, age and understanding of the child. Key values create an ethos of respect, inclusion, accountability and taking responsibility, commitment to relationships, impartiality, being non-judgmental, collaboration, empowerment and emotional articulacy. Key skills include active listening, facilitating dialogue and problem solving, listening to and expressing emotion, and empowering others to take ownership of problems. Specific training on restorative approaches are available at the Essex Youth Offending Service. One of our values, hope, is key. The child or young person must feel that all is not lost, that they can get over what has happened and things can be good again. We use lots of positive language, but this doesn't always inspire hope, which can be unhelpful. Hope should come with validation, allowing the child or young person to understand why they feel the way they do, know that things can and will get better. For example, it's unhelpful to say to a child or young person to just be happy, as it sets an unrealistic expectation. No one is happy all the time, and we don't want them to think that they should be, as this will give them a sense of failure whenever they're unhappy. We need to let them know that it is normal to feel unhappy sometimes, empathise with them, and support them to find a solution. I would now like you to pause this webinar and click the link to video 13 in element 9 of the video link handout, which goes along with these webinars. This video illustrates an adult who provided hope to a young child and the impact that it had on their life. Whilst watching, consider how you could provide hope and optimism to children and young people you support. Should you wish to find out more about the themes covered in today's session, we recommend these sources as a starting point, and these can be found in the video handout that goes along with these webinars. We have now come to the end of element 9, and this concludes our TPP for Essex Partners training. Please be aware that the topic of trauma and emotional well-being can be emotive, and it's important to look after your own well-being. There are some useful links for accessing support should you or someone else you know need it. You can find this slide in a downloadable copy alongside our TPP webinars. Your feedback is important to us. We ask that you use the QR code or link that can be found in the video handout that goes along with this webinar to send us your feedback. We'd like to finish with taking this opportunity to thank you for attending the training and hope you found it useful.